As I was thinking about our children's sermon today, I thought about the many things over these last few months that we have had to learn to do differently. So, we worship differently than we used to, using the computer and the screens and all this kind of stuff. You go to school differently than you used to. And often when we think about the things that we do differently, we think about how those differences really sometimes aren't so fun. But here's the important thing. We still get to do those things. We still get to worship. We still get to go to school. We still get to see people, even if we're using the computer to do that. And right now, we would be doing something in church, getting ready for next weekend. Next weekend is the big Souperbowl, the big football game, and it's going to be done a little differently this year, but it's still going to happen. And what we would be doing is we would be collecting soup and stew, and we would have two different bins in the church. And you could put the soup and the stew into the bin for whichever team you wanted to win, or the way it works out here, into whichever team you want to lose, because almost always the team with the most soup loses the Souperbowl and vice versa. But anyway, we would be having a big competition. We can't really do it like that this year. But the thing is, we can still do it. We can still get soup and stew and bring them over to church, drop them in the bins, and people at Gaithersburg Help will still get them. So I went out today, not today, but in the last few days, and I got some soup and some stew, and I'm going to add them to the pile. And here's the most important thing about Souperbowl. No matter who wins, no matter how differently it's done, in the end, when we bring in soup and stew, people in our community are going to be able to have food. And that's especially important right now because there are more people in our community that are having difficulty getting food than there were last year. So when we do something like that, we become God's hands and God's presence in the world to other people. So this year, even though you can't vote for one team or the other, try to remember to do the thing I always ask you to do, bug your parents. And if you're an adult listening to this, bug yourself, put it on your list, get some soup, get some stew, bring them over to church, drop them off, and we will make sure that folks at Gaithersburg Help get them to distribute to people in our community who are really needy right now. And that'll be a way that we can help the light of Jesus shine in their lives. Thank you very much for listening.